What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to the Hangout spot where you already know it's real talk, boxing talk, live from my man cave. It's your boy Johnny, and I am your host for another edition of the Hangout Spot Live, this time the Tuesday night edition. And I just want to thank everybody who rocked out with us last week. Two fantastic shows. Last week, we actually did our Tuesday show on Monday because we wanted to recap the David Benavidez versus David Morrell fight. We did that. In fact, I had light heavyweight contender Anthony Sims Jr. on with me live. We broke down every single fight. It was an amazing show. And then Thursday, we actually had the father and trainer of the winner, David Benavidez, the Mexican monster. We had Jose Benavidez Sr. on with us. And we also went over some pertinent boxing news, which we're going to cover today. So shout out to Jose Benavidez Sr. for joining me, for Anthony Sims Jr., Black Sugar Sims. If you have not checked out any of those episodes, make sure you check them out at the Hangout spot today. We got another banging show for you, but we are solo dolo, Scarface, no Manolo here in the studio. We were expecting to have lightweight contender Lucas Body undefeated, 18-0 with 15 knockouts. He is now a fighter under the Jake Paul Most Valuable Promotions banner. We were expecting to have him on today, but he's traveling. He's actually traveling to Vegas, and he's working on some pre-fight material. So he could not make it today, but we are going to reschedule. As of right now, we're potentially looking at possibly this Thursday for the next show. So make sure you stay tuned. If you're not following me on IG, make sure you follow me on IG at the Hangout spot. That's usually where I put all my updates, stories, future guests, and so forth. Links to live shows. If you check it out right now, tell a friend to tell a friend. The link to the live show is on IG right now. And you know the deal here before we get started, man. There's ground rules. If you're watching this live on YouTube, make sure you smash that like button as it will help with the visibility of the channel. The goal here is to get this show into the algorithm of other boxing fans so that they know that we are rocking out every Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and sometimes even a third show on Wednesdays. So again, if you're not following me on IG for those updates, make sure you are. And if you have not subscribed to the Hangout spot, make sure you do so and tell a friend to tell a friend. In 2025, we're looking for big things. If we're going to turn this train into a locomotive, we have to get more passengers on here. So make sure you spread the word. And last but not least, the live chat is open. Make sure you guys participate. I'm here alone in the studio, but I'm definitely never alone on these shows because my chat be cooking. I don't expect anything different in this show. The live chat, the free chat is open. The super chat is open. If anybody's looking to make a donation, I will straight up appreciate that as well.
Straight cash, homie.
But you already know how we do it up here. In fact, man, we got my man Ryan Frazier from Boxing Talk up north. He's checking in. Salute to you, champ. If you have not subscribed to Boxing Talk up north, make sure you do that, man. My man Ryan is cooking it up in Canada. A lot of good things going on. In fact, we were supposed to have Lucas Body on the show today to talk about his fight that he's actually going to be headlining Most Valuable Promotions and MVP Prospect Card. That's going to be March 7th in Canada. But again, hopefully we'll be able to get him on Thursday's show. That's the plan. But man, we got a lot of stuff lined up, man. We got a lot of stuff lined up because we got a lot of fight rumors, stories, announcements that have come out in the last couple of days, man. And I thought it was fitting. That we start basically with...
We interrupt this program with breaking news.
How about the guy that everybody's talking about? We talked about him at length on Thursday, and we're going to talk about him again. Canelo Alvarez. I mean, that is a name that has been surfacing for the past week and a half. In fact, I damn near spent about an hour of last Thursday's show talking about his proposed fight that was supposedly announced against Jake Paul in May, and the fact that they had canceled the Terrence Crawford fight that was scheduled to take place or announced a couple days prior was going to happen in September. We spoke about that at length. And for what? Because at the end of the day, the next day I woke up in the morning and that was all over with, man. And so goes the Canelo Alvarez soap opera. This is as the world turns when it comes to Canelo Alvarez, man. You just never know what's going to happen in his world, man. So we went from Jake Paul and Canelo potentially happening, a done deal, Many people were reporting it. The Ring magazine had put it on their website. Eddie Hearn had spoken to someone in social media, said that he had heard that that was a done deal and that the Crawford fight was off. But then Turkey Al-Sheikh, man, he swooped right in and said, "Nah, man, we're not having any of that, bro. We just want Canelo to ourselves. We want real fights." Before that whole thing had come about with Jake Paul and Canelo fighting, I believe that Turkey Al-Sheikh had put out a three fight offer that Canelo was going to work under Riyadh season with, but Turkey changed his stance, man, and he turned that 3 fight offer into a 4 fight deal, where now Canelo Alvarez is going to be fighting on Riyadh season, 4 fights, 2 this year. Obviously, his dates. I mean, those are his dates every year. The May date, which is Cinco de Mayo weekend, and the September date, which is Mexican Independence weekend. He's going to keep those dates this year, next year, and he's going to fight 4 times. And now they pivoted. They pivoted. So the Terrence Crawford fight, which was supposedly off, is now back on the table. As you can see, they announced that, like I said, literally like less than 24 hours after we were talking about it at length on Thursday's show. That was about Friday morning, Friday late morning. So the Terrence Crawford Canelo Alvarez fight, which most people, depending on who you ask, were excited about. Obviously, the fight that we all want to see is Canelo Alvarez against David Benavidez. But like I've said, I don't believe that that fight ever happens. So this is, this is a decent consolation prize. You know what I mean? You got Terrence Crawford that's daring to be great. He's moving up 2 weight classes. And the thing that's going to make this fight interesting is they also announced that Canelo is going to be fighting IBF champion from Cuba, William Skull, in May. So when they had first put out the story of the 4 fight deal, they were saying that that Canelo could potentially fight Jamal Charlo, who has been AWOL. We haven't seen him for quite some time. He's going through a lot of mental health issues. They were rumoring or saying that he could have been a May opponent. Nobody was potentially excited about that. And then, or Bruno Saras, who is the fighter that upset Jaime Munguia. So those were the 2 names that were being thrown out. Nobody was particularly excited about either one of them. And I can't realistically tell you that anybody is excited about William Skull, because realistically, nobody really knows a lot about William Skull, man. And this is just your typical Canelo, layup type of fight, right? I mean, listen, I'm not going to sit here and bash Canelo, man, because for most of his career, Canelo was my guy. You know what I mean? Like, I was always a Canelo fan. His resume can't be questioned. What he's done in different weight classes, picking up titles. I mean, he will go down arguably as probably the greatest Mexican fighter that ever lived. Now, there are going to be some people that debate that and say that that belongs to Julio Cesar Chavez. Again, it's debatable. Like, Canelo has done enough in his career to at least make that a good argument. So that's going to probably be a debate that's going to go back and forth between all fans, Mexican fans in particular, just like the LeBron and MJ debate. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people don't feel like LeBron should even be mentioned in the same category as far as GOAT with Michael Jordan. But there are a lot of people that consider, LeBron the GOAT. So that's an ongoing thing. But either way, he's still in the conversation. What he's accomplished in his career can't be questioned. But the last couple years, man, I've soured on Canelo because of the way he's moving. You know what I'm saying? He's went full diva mode. Like, he's realistically picking and choosing who he fights. This whole David Benavidez and, him not fighting David Benavidez has kind of rubbed me the wrong way, because David Benavidez was the number 1 contender, for the WBC portion of that 168 title for like 2 years, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, maybe even more. And after every fight, that David Benavidez won at 168, he was calling out Canelo. He wanted that fight, and we all want to see that fight. You know what I'm saying? And Canelo, for some reason, has not had any interest in taking that fight. I don't think Canelo is afraid of David Benavidez. I don't think fighters are built that way. No fighter is realistically built that way. So I'm not going to say that. But I just find it weird that Canelo's the type of fighter throughout his career that when challenges have been thrown his way, like when the media and the public has demanded him to fight a certain guy, namely Triple G, although he's hesitated, he's done it. Why hasn't he done this fight with David Benavidez is the question that I ask every single day. And the only thing that I could come up with, man, is that, he don't want that smoke, man. He does not want that smoke. And I know that there's going to be Canelo fans that are going to argue that. What has David done to deserve a fight? Is David a big money draw? And to me, that's all gibberish, man. That's all gibberish because David Benavidez has done one thing that he should be doing, and that's winning fights to become the number one contender. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I mean, if you win enough fights and you're considered the number one contender, you should be getting that title shot. Like you should not have to lobby or beg for a title shot. You had Canelo the other day on a podcast that said, well, he's been disrespectful with the way he's been talking and asking for a fight. Like, I'm not interested in giving a guy like that a payday. My thing is, bro, like, what do you want David to do, bro? You want him to call you? Mr. Canelo Alvarez, my idol. I adore you. Can you please give me a title shot? A title shot that I've deserved, sir? Like, that doesn't work that way in boxing, bro. There's plenty of fighters that have called out other fighters, man. Why is it that because David Benavidez is lobbying for a fight, calling him a pussy? I mean, why is it that he don't want to fight him? I don't get it.
This is nasty.
Definitely nasty work, in my opinion. But either way, this is the course that Canelo has chosen. Now he's with Turkey Al-Sheikh, William Skull, in May, Cinco de Mayo weekend. And I mean, William Skull is undefeated. He's 23-0, 9 knockouts, but he only has a 39% KO rate. He did beat Vladimir Shishkin, 12-round unanimous decision to win the IBF portion of that belt. So this fight in May now becomes, for undisputed. That's the last belt, that Canelo needed to pick up. It's a belt that he owned that was actually, taken away from him. But now he gets a chance to get it back, be undisputed again at 168, and it makes now the Crawford fight in September a lot more interesting because now it's for the undisputed 168-pound title. So Crawford gets a chance to be undisputed in another division, make history. So kudos to Crawford, for getting that opportunity. But there's still a lot of people that are soured on that fight because they believe size matters in boxing. You know what I'm saying? And he's moving up 2 weight classes to fight arguably the best 168-pounder, a guy who's probably going to be close to 180 on fight night. Crawford is a guy with a much smaller frame, just moved up to 154. Crawford wants that big fight. He wants to cash out before he calls it a career. I don't think that Crawford is really interested in fighting anybody else. In fact, I had a conversation with Terrence at ProBox, off camera, and he made it clear, that was the fight that he was targeting. And it seems like, he's waited it out and he's going to get it. Obviously, it's been announced that he's going to get it. And I fully expect that fight to happen. I don't believe that William Skull, no disrespect to him, is going to pose any type of threat to Canelo. I did do a little bit of video review on Skull, his last couple fights. I mean, he's a slick boxer. Guys is going to move around. He doesn't have power at all. I don't even see him lasting 12 rounds with Canelo unless Canelo decides to carry him. But nonetheless, this might be as easy as a layup for a title that Canelo has ever gotten in his career. There may be another one. I don't know. Hopefully the chat will be able to chime in on that. But once you see those 2 guys in the ring, in my opinion, we're probably going to say, yeah, man, I think this was Canelo's easiest path towards one of those titles, which is sad because we've never, ever questioned Canelo's resume in the past. And as far as Jake Paul, man, he's been going in, man. And, a lot of people were saying that fight was just thrown out there, that it potentially wasn't going to happen, but it was, man. I mean, Jake Paul was pissed about it. He actually threw out a notice, that went to me and obviously media members that cover Most Valuable Promotions. And he basically put Canelo on blast, man. I mean, this was the statement that was issued, and it went out that Friday basically saying that they had a done deal in place to fight in Vegas, which was probably going to be streamed on Netflix for free. And, the powers that be, Canelo Alvarez, pulled out, and he was upset about that, and rightfully so. That is actually the notice on the screen if you have not seen it. So that was basically a done deal that Turkey Al-Sheikh swooped in and said, nah, bro, we're not having that. We got to get Canelo up in here. And you got to think that Canelo did that to gain that leverage. I mean, that's how I look at it. To gain that leverage, that he needed to be able to come back to Turkey and say, yo, I'm ready to fight Jake Paul, man. What you got in store for me? And that's when probably Turkey Al-Sheikh said, nah, man, we'll make this a this 3-fight deal, a 4-fight deal. And you could forget all that Jake Paul nonsense. So, so Jake Paul was pissed about it. Obviously, he's gone social media. He's cracking jokes and doing reels, making fun of Canelo. But at the end of the day, like I said, I mean, I would have been shocked to see that happen. That's a fight that Canelo has said, a couple years ago that he would never entertain. But again, here we go. We fast forward to the year 2024 and money talks, man. You know what I'm saying? Money talks. So, I was trying to warm up to the idea that we were actually going to see that, but it did not materialize. So I guess Jake Paul will have to pivot. But my chat is cooking right now. We got Ryan Frazier, Boxing Talk Up North. I agree, but I just say Nello got to be more accomplished Mexican ever. So I guess Ryan is talking about the comparison between Julio Cesar Chavez and Canelo that I just mentioned a few minutes ago. Yeah, man. I mean, listen, it's interesting now. One can make that argument that he is the greatest Mexican of all time when it's all said and done. Now, you got to remember, he's not done. He's not done. He's still got 4 more fights. Most people are going to think that these are the last 4 fights. We still hold out hope for David Benavidez, even though I think it's never going to happen. You saw my interview with Jose Sr. on Thursday. He said it when I asked him if the Canelo fight presents itself and he asks you to move down to 168 because damn well Canelo ain't moving up to 175 to get that. Will he take it? And he didn't stutter. He said, yeah. Even though I went back and said, do you think that's a good idea? David's a 175 fighter right now, 2 fights in, and he looks like he's very comfortable in the weight. Would a move down to 168 to fight Canelo be smart? And he said it wouldn't be a problem. He said it wouldn't even be a problem to move up to cruiserweight and fight Zurdo Ramirez. That's another fight that they're looking for. In fact, he said the 3 fights that he wants is Better Bivol, regardless of the winner. He wants both of those guys, and then he wants to move up to cruiserweight to fight Zurdo. So shout out to David Benavidez and Jose Senior. Man. They're not sitting back and waiting for that, that girl that you've been chasing, for years to finally pick up the phone and go out on a date with you. They're moving on. They're trying to find, bigger fights, bigger legacy fights. So shout out to David and Jose Senior. But this is what we get with Canelo, man. This is what we get with Canelo. My man Wax, what's going on, my brother? Thank you for checking in. The Skull fight is only happening because he wants to become undisputed again. Other than that, there isn't much benefit in fighting Skull. I agree. I definitely agree. That's the only reason why it's happening. But, again, at the end of the day, the people that suffer are us true boxing fans. That's why we got to have the same energy for other fighters that do the same thing, right? I mean, it is what it is. This is what we're facing, at the end of the day. But I stand firm, man. Like I said, this is no disrespect to William Skull, but I've seen a couple of his fights. I analyzed a couple of his fights just in the last 24 hours, and I just don't see how Canelo doesn't stop him, man. That's just my opinion. But, this is boxing. My man, the boxing maniac, is in the building. What's going on, champ? Johnny, my brother. You already know how we do it up here, champ. You already know how we do it up here, man. And shout out to my chat for showing up. If you have not smashed that like button, make sure you do so. We are trying to get this channel into the algorithm of other boxing fans. So make sure you share as well, subscribe. But more importantly, man, tell a friend to subscribe and keep the chat going. We got a lot of good stuff headed, right now in the next couple of minutes. Canelo is on his farewell tour. Yeah, man. But I still feel like if you have the straps, you got to fight the top contenders, bro. It's your job. If you want to pick and move and choose your opponents and move around the way you want to move around, then just relinquish the straps. You know what I'm saying? Don't hold them hostage. But, it is what it is. Like I said, I think the Terence Crawford fight is going to be a little bit more interesting than I think most people think. It's actually growing on me. And as we get closer to that, obviously, we will deep dive in and analyze it. But I will tell you on the surface, and I've said this before, man, it's not a skill thing with Crawford. Crawford is extremely skilled. He's competitive. He's one of the best fighters in the world, pound for pound. Most people have him at number 2 behind Usyk. I don't hate on that, even though he has not been active. That'd be my only complaint. So he's skillful. He can definitely hang with Canelo as far as skill. Some people will say he's even more skillful than Canelo. My biggest issue is the size and the punch resistance. And that's why there's weight classes in boxing. Feel me? Like at the end of the day, you know, I go back to this, right? That left hand, that lightning left hand that Canelo hit Berlanga with, that Berlanga fell. If he hits Crawford with that same punch, will Crawford get up? That's all I ask. That's all I ask, man. I gotta see that. You know what I'm saying? I gotta see that. Before I have any reservations about Canelo losing that fight. On the surface, I got Canelo winning that fight and then moving on to the final 4 fights because I really think 2026 will probably be his last year. That's my prediction. We got Mr. Mirage in the building. What's going on, champ? Canelo said he hated fighters who waited for paydays. It's funny because I really don't think that David Benavidez wants a payday. Now, yes, Crawford, I believe Crawford wants to cash out, which is, again, you nailed it, right? That's being a hypocrite, right? Why is he fighting Crawford? He said a couple years ago, or whenever this fight started to materialize, I believe it was after Crawford beat Spence, when Crawford was asking for Canelo. I remember him on a show saying, he doesn't see himself fighting Crawford because he's too small. It's a no-win situation because if he beats him, people aren't going to give him credit for it because he beat a smaller man. And then God forbid if Crawford beats him, right? That wouldn't be good for his legacy, right? A smaller man moved up 2 weight classes and cooked you. That wouldn't be good either. But now here you are, you fast forward to 2025 and, he's not only entertained it, he's signed up for it. So it's weird, man. No, I get it, man. Canelo, but let's not forget, this is not the first time Canelo has done that. Remember Canelo saying that he didn't want to fight any Mexican fighters. Remember that whole deal? How did that age? Bro, how did that age, bro?
Are you about to engage in blasphemy?
Yeah, he sure did because he went and fought Munguia. Go figure. But he doesn't want to fight David Benavidez. Make that shit make sense.
This is nasty.
And I say that, like my man Two-Tone says, respectfully. Mr. Mirage, yet proceeds to give Bud his payday. Absolutely. We just went over that. That is weird. That is nasty work for me, man. What's up, Ryan? Yup, I think the Jake Paul fight will come around in 2027. Yeah. You know what's funny? You're right, Ryan. You bring up a good point because that could be his farewell fight. He'll be just old enough where most people are going to think he's vulnerable and Jake Paul has a good shot to beat him and he'll cash out. He will cash out because regardless of the age, I mean, Canelo could retire, come back 10 years from now and fight Jake Paul if Jake Paul's still fighting, and it will make a bag like Jake Paul did fighting Mike Tyson. Let's not forget what he did that night, on Netflix, bro. I mean, that shit broke records. Damn near froze in everybody's house. He broke Netflix with Mike Tyson, who was 58 years old. Imagine what he could do with Canelo 2 years from now, 5 years from now. People are still tuning in to check it out, man. This is just the way it is, right? This is the era. This is the day and age that we live in, right? Fight fans want to be entertained. The casuals want to be entertained, man. And that's just entertainment, man. Turkey is opening his pocketbook, not Canelo. Well, true. Yeah, more than likely, obviously. Yeah, that's a good point. But either way, man, Canelo calls the shots, right? He could pivot away and says, you know what? I want that Benavidez fight. Let's make that happen. I want $200 million to fight Benavidez. I don't care what you give him, but I want $200 million. You don't think that Turkey probably would have tried to make that happen? I absolutely think he would have made that happen, man.
Straight cash, homie.
Turkey's a boxing fan too, and he wants to see the best fight the best. You can't tell me that Turkey Al-Sheikh don't want to see Canelo and Benavidez, bro. There's no way. I won't believe it. I won't believe it, man. Turkey's saving the sport right now. Yeah, man, we talked about that maniac. I don't really see how fight fans criticize him. I don't see that angle. I think anybody who's trying to make, the best fights possible is good for boxing. He's challenging people to be great. He's paying them handsomely. And as far as the fans are concerned, how can we complain, bro? When you got a fight card, the last crescendo, February 22nd, 7 fights that could potentially be main events or different cards. He has it on one card, Saudi Arabia, which we will get into next week because I can't believe we're just less than 2 weeks away, man. That's going to be fire. And more importantly, $26? Bro, I mean, I just don't see how people can complain about Turkey. We got my sister Superwoman in the building. Thanks for checking in, sis. I appreciate you. We got my man Quinn DQ. David has become a legend beating Bivol, can become a legend beating Bivol and Better Beef. Chasing a smaller Canelo is a waste. Yeah, man. Listen, I spoke to Jose Senior about that and off record actually. And like I said, man, they want to make their own legacy path, man. They're not going to spend the rest of their career chasing Canelo. In fact, he didn't even want me to bring up Canelo because he was tired of hearing about Canelo. I asked him on our interview, Coach, how many times did Canelo's name come up over the weekend, for the David Morrell fight, man? And he was like, yo, man, I was just tired. I'm tired of hearing about Canelo. Like, this is why we moved over to 175, so we didn't have to hear about him anymore. But unfortunately, the fight fans are not going to let it go. They're not going to let it go. That's the fight we want to see. And until we get it, we're going to clamor about it. That's what we do. That's what true boxing fans do, man. Share the live. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Don't sleep on the Hangout spot. Absolutely, my sister. If y'all have not subscribed or told a friend to subscribe, make sure y'all do that and make sure y'all smash that like button. This is how we do it up at the Hangout spot. We're shaking. I got my man, the Dominican Dream from the Boxing Roundtable in the building. What's going on, champ? Johnny, stop it. The Canelo lovers are going to come after you, dog. Don't do it. Listen, man, this is how I roll, bro. I used to roll with Canelo, man. Canelo was my guy, man, but I got to keep it 100, man. You know what I'm saying? I got to keep it 100, man. So if they come after me, I'm just going to say the same thing I said when I'm hard on Tank. I'm just holding some of those favorite fighters, some of those crowd-pleasing fighters accountable. We got to see them do better, especially towards the latter part of his career, man. Like I said, I don't think we're going to see Canelo past, 2026. I could be wrong, but it would be nice if that last fight, which Turkey left open in September of 2026, it would be dope if that's the Benavidez fight. I mean, I'm just saying, man. If it's the Jake Paul fight, nasty. There's no knock on Jake, bro. Not a knock on Jake at all. Quinn DQ, we got Jake would have to keep fans interested until Canelo is ready, and that means riskier fights. If he starts losing the audience, the audience will dwindle. Yeah. But there's something about Jake, man, as a promoter. I mean, you can't deny what, we as boxing fans, we complain about his resume. I get it. And I've said it. I think Jake is good for the sport because I love boxing. And anybody that helps put more eyes on boxing, I'm all for it. That's me. There's some people that think he's bad for the sport. I don't. But what I will say to Jake, and I got much love for Most Valuable Promotion. Shout out to them. They actually tagged me on a reel, last week on a clip of an interview I did with one of their fighters, middleweight prospect, Alexis Chop Chop Chaparro. They tagged me on a reel on IG, on Twitter, on TikTok. So shout out to them. Shout out to Jake Paul's promotion company. But my beef with Jake Paul is, man, bro, you got to pick a side, bro. Like, are you just going to be the dude, that fights guys like Mike Tyson at 58, MMA fighters, basketball players, and make a bag doing it? If that's what you want to do, I don't knock it. You know what I'm saying? I don't knock it because he's making bank doing that. But after a fight, if you're going to say, I want to be a champion and I want to fight guys like Canelo, then maybe you need to start fighting top contenders so that we actually believe you. You know what I'm saying? We actually believe that, Jake wants that smoke. He's fighting, a top 15 guy, top 20 guy, eventually a top 10 guy and holding his own. Like, we got to see that. That's why the Canelo fight was interesting to me, because a guy like that jumps the line and we see a Jake Paul Canelo fight before we see a David Benavidez and Canelo fight. But again, you can't knock Jake's business acumen as a businessman, as a promoter. That can't be denied. You know what I mean? Yeah, he said he wanted to make the David Benavidez fight. You must be Brian, you must be talking about Jose Senior. Absolutely, man. He said it on my show Thursday. We had him on the Boxing Voice yesterday evening. I was co-hosting on the panel with my man Nestor Gibbs. Shout out to the Boxing Voice and the community there. Y'all always coming out for me. I appreciate y'all. Y'all already know how we do. We family. But Jose Senior said, yeah, I mean, he'd be willing to take that fight. But we all know what's holding that fight up. Salute my man Eddie Alvarez. What's going on, champ? You are in the building like you usually are. Man, I appreciate you. Or you mean Turkey said, okay. Again, I don't doubt that. Turkey just wants to see the best fighting the best, bro. That's what I love about him. You know what I'm saying? My man X from Four Corners Boxes is in the building. You know what it is and who it is. Absolutely. If you are not following my brothers on Four Corners Boxing, the Boxing Maniac, Uno, the heavyweight champ, Fight Night Mode, make sure you check them out, man. They got a show every Wednesday night where they do their thing. That's right, man. X, let them know. Let them know they got to smash that like button. They got to subscribe too. They got to subscribe, bro. We got to turn this train into a locomotive in 2025 so we can get the bigger interviews, the bigger names, man. We doing it up. The Hangout spot is where it's at, bro. The Hangout spot is where it's at. If you don't know, you better ask somebody, man. I'm sorry, man. Let's leave the Benny versus Canelo talks out of boxing. Let's talk about the fights that are actually happening. Shout out to X, man. Yeah, man, it's just hard. It's hard to have any type of Canelo conversation without the word Benavidez coming up, but I'll kind of leave that alone. One thing that I do want to touch on before I get to my next topic is there was a rumored undercard for that Canelo and William Skull fight. Shout out to Fight Night X. He actually sent me that earlier, and then I saw it on social media after. I could always count on my people, to hook me up with the up-to-date news. Supposedly now it is official as of this evening that Jaime Munguia is going to be fighting in the co-main event against Bruno Suras, the guy who upset him and potentially ruined the bag with Edgar Berlanga, which we'll get into in a second. He's going to be fighting in the co-main event. As you know, Jaime Munguia is now a Eddie Reynoso fighter. So he's on Team Canelo. There was some video that surfaced this week on social media where they were both doing they weren't sparring, but they were doing some work in the gym, working on some techniques and so forth. I think that was a great move for Munguia. We all know that Canelo has a soft spot in his heart for Munguia. We all know that he took it lightly on Munguia last May. Let's keep it 100. But he's on Team Canelo. He's going to be on the card. But now there is also another rumored fight. That one hasn't been made official yet. But if it happens, it's going to be absolute fire. It's Teofimo Lopez. This is a 140-pound unification. Teo is 21-1 with 13 knockouts. He's the WBO and Ring Magazine champion at 140. He's going up against Richardson Hitchens. That's what they're saying. Hitchens just won the title from Liam Paul in Puerto Rico. He's 19-0 with 7 knockouts, those two. And he has the IBF portion of the 140-pound title. Those two have been going back and forth on Twitter. There's no love lost there. I think that's going to be a terrific, absolutely terrific fight if that fight is made official. And it will shape up a card that has a very, very questionable main event. So hopefully Turkey puts that together and we make that happen in May. We make that happen in May. More to come on that. We'll talk about that as that obviously progresses and get closer, or when fights are made official by the Ring Magazine. Once they made official, man, the Ring Magazine ain't playing around. They throwing out a post on IG, Facebook, their website immediately when fights are made official. So shout out to the Ring Magazine and what Turkey is doing with the Ring Magazine now that he's purchased it, man. I expect nothing but big things going forward for the Ring Magazine. But let's pivot, man. Let's pivot. There was another big fight announcement that was announced about 24 hours ago, maybe a little bit more than that. And it involved my guy, Edgar Berlanga, the chosen one. Now, we've been waiting for a fight announcement for quite some time. And it had been rumored. It had been talked about. In fact, Edgar told me personally during the interview that I did with him. And if you did not see that, make sure you check it out at the Hangout spot. It is there. A few weeks ago on one of my lives, I had his head trainer, my guy, good friend, Mark Ferre. He was on with me. And it was basically a done deal. Straight from the horse's mouth that Edgar was going to return in March in Puerto Rico, his Puerto Rican homecoming. And everybody was looking forward to it, even myself. But now we got a little bit of a curveball. It was just announced that the Puerto Rico deal fell apart for some reason. I don't know why. And now Edgar's going to be fighting in Orlando, Caribbean Royale, my second home. So I'm not mad at that at all. You know what I'm saying? It saves me a flight to Puerto Rico because I was planning on being there to show support to my guy. And so now he's going to be fighting March 15th, Caribbean Royale, Orlando. It is a Matchroom DAZN card that is being co-promoted by Box Lab Promotions. Shout out to Box Lab Promotions, my boxing family. And Edgar Berlanga will be in the co-main event against Jonathan Gonzalez Ortiz, better known as Mantequilla. Now, Ortiz is an undefeated fighter. He is 20-0, one draw with 16 KOs, so he has an 80% knockout rate. Obviously, Edgar Berlanga, only one blemish on his record, 22-1, 17 knockouts. But we all know how Edgar does with that lightning right hand. His only loss was obviously his last fight to the great Canelo Alvarez, and that was in September. So this is his comeback fight. And there's a lot of people on social media that are shitting on this fight. They're hating on Edgar. I mean, you're hearing all type of stuff going back and forth about what happened with Puerto Rico. Why is he fighting this guy and not a bigger name? I thought he said he was a superstar. Why is he fighting in the co-main event in Caribbean and not headlining? What kind of shit is that? And I'm reading through all this, man, and I just got one thing to say, man. And it's not because Edgar's my dude. I'm going to keep it 100, man. Y'all got to calm down with that, man. Y'all got to calm down with the hate, bro. Like, come on, man. Like, this is boxing. We all know that when a plan A falls apart, you got to resort to a plan B and unfortunately, sometimes a plan C. I mean, think about it. Realistically, let's keep it real. Let's think about it. Let's put our thinking caps on for a minute and let's start to analyze shit. And I don't have any inside information at all. This is just me analyzing shit that I see on social media, things that I hear. I mean, I don't think that there was any realistic chance that Edgar was going to fight a guy like Caleb Plant in March, which is what most people want. I doubt that that fight was going to happen at March. That's a fight that I believe has a ton of potential to happen later on in 2025. I know Caleb Plant has gone on social media. He is lobbying for that fight with Edgar. But this was a comeback fight for Edgar in front of the Puerto Rican people. And I firmly believe that the plan that they had in place probably fell apart. And this is the plan B that they had to resort to. And they had to stay busy. You got to understand, Edgar is on a 3-fight deal with Matchroom. This is the third and final fight. Matchroom is going to fund this fight, and then Edgar is going to be a free agent. And I know that people aren't satisfied about the opponent. But at the end of the day, Edgar needed to stay busy. This is a stay busy fight. You know what I don't get about fight fans? We complain about fighters that stay away from the ring 12, 13, 14 months. And when they do that, they never come back to a big fight. It's usually a tune-up fight or a guy that everybody thinks they could potentially beat. But Edgar now, his comeback fight, granted it's a guy against a guy that nobody wants to see him fight, we are crapping on it. Like, you know, we got to cool out a little bit. And I know a lot of people hate Edgar, man. And for the life of me, I mean, I don't get it, man, because I know Edgar. You know, I will always rock with Edgar. You know, he was born and raised in Bushwick, my hometown. You know, there's some ties there. I actually know a couple of his family members that I grew up with. So I'll always be an Edgar supporter. And Edgar's a good guy, man. I've spoken to Edgar. I've had conversations with Mark Ferrer about Edgar. I've seen Edgar, the way he carries himself. He's a good dude, man. You know, but he's brash, you know, he's confident. He's flashy. And I think that rubs a lot of people the wrong way. And I get it. You know, at the end of the day, that's your opinion. I mean, you can root for the fighter that you want to root for. I get it. I totally get it. But he's not the first guy that we've seen in boxing that's flashy, that's confident, that believes that he's a star in the sport. We've seen this before, and boxers are supposed to believe that. You know what I'm saying? They're supposed to believe that they're the best in the sport. One thing you can't deny about Edgar is he is a draw. He's a star. And when I say star, I mean there's a reason why other fighters, plenty of other fighters have been calling him out. They want to fight him. And why is that? Why is that? Because Edgar's a draw. Edgar can fight it. Edgar's a draw. Caleb Plant has been calling him out. People don't call out fighters unless they know it's going to be a good fight and it's going to be a big money fight. People are calling him out. There's a lot of people that are calling him out. In fact, Anthony Sims Jr., Black Sugar Sims, has been posting a lot on Edgar. The past week on Edgar's social media. He's lobbying for a fight with Edgar. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of people that want Edgar. I get it. At the end of the day, the Puerto Rico thing didn't come through. But the way I'm thinking about it, and listen, and hear me out. This is my thought process. I firmly believe, and this is just me thinking, that the plan all along for Edgar was potentially to fight William Skull in Puerto Rico for the IBF title. That's my thought. And the reason why I say that is because that's a fight that you can make in Puerto Rico, and it would have been for an IBF strap. When I interviewed Edgar, the first person, when I asked him who he wanted on his hit list was William Skull. Without a doubt. I want to fuck William Skull up. I want to take his title in Puerto Rico. I firmly believe that maybe that was the fight that they were trying to put in place to take place, to go down in Puerto Rico. But I also believe that William Skull had other plans. He wanted that Canelo bag, like most people do. I also believe that a backup option for Puerto Rico would have been Edgar and Jaime Munguia. And obviously you saw what happened with Munguia. He lost, he got knocked out. Edgar even posted it on social media that Munguia fucked up the bag. So maybe that was the plan B. And that didn't fall through because obviously, people would have wanted Munguia to get back on the horse and get that rematch, which he's getting in May. In order to fight in Puerto Rico, you would have had to have a decent name to get the public, the Puerto Rican people, to come out and embrace Edgar. And maybe they just didn't feel, that they had the right opponent. A plant fight, we all know that those type of fights take a long time to materialize, especially when they're between two different promotion companies. So that's why I tell you that was never going to happen in March if I had my prediction. That was never going to happen in March. Plus, I'm sure Caleb Plant would have probably not agreed to go to Puerto Rico. He probably wants to make that fight with Edgar in Las Vegas, on a pay-per-view card. And I truly think that fight happens. You got to remember this again. I'm gonna point back to this whole thing. Edgar is on a 3-fight deal. This is the last fight, meaning he will be a free agent after this. And there will be people that are going to put purse bids to get big fights with him in 2025. He is managed by Keith Connolly, which is one of the best managers, if not the best boxing manager right now in the sport. He's a power manager. And he's come out and said, and Nesta Gibbs from the Boxing Voice actually reported this yesterday, that, the story will come out. There's a reason why they did this, because they're looking at something big after this. So think about it. It makes perfect sense, right? This is boxing. This is business 101. And sometimes in boxing, and not only boxing, in life, you got to take one step backwards sometimes to take 2 giant steps forward. So you mean to tell me none of us are going to be satisfied if he goes in March 15th, take care of business against Mantequilla, and then we get the next fight against Caleb Plant either at the end of the summer or September? We won't be satisfied with that? Because that could possibly happen. That could definitely happen. Edgar's a free agent. And Edgar has made it clear. I've had some back and forth with Edgar. He's looking forward to being a free agent. He wants to see what's out there. He believes that he is an entity out there and he can maneuver and he can make the big fights happen. And like I said, he does have the name. People want to fight him. People want to fight him. That can't be denied, man. And like I said, man, we just got to keep that same energy because we've seen other fighters do the same thing. But at the end of the day, I would prefer, a stay busy fight, take care of business. Hopefully all goes well. No bumps in the road. And then we get the bigger fights that we want to see. We all want to see the Caleb Plant fight. I believe Edgar wants that fight. He mentioned that to me. Munguia, if Munguia gets it right with Suras, which I fully expect him to do, we could see that fight possibly in September. Diego Pacheco, Jose Benavidez Sr. has told me specifically on that interview that he wants that fight against Berlanga. I think Berlanga would definitely take that fight. But that wasn't a fight that could have been made in March either because Diego Pacheco just fought. I know a lot of people want Macumbi. Maybe that's a fight that we see next. I don't know. But what I will tell you is I strongly believe that this next fight, is going to be a stay busy fight, which I think is a good idea. Coming back from that Canelo, that Canelo fight, which Edgar performed admirably. I mean, he lost, but a lot of people thought he was going to get washed. He survived on his own 2 feet and he fought. He didn't run like Charlo. He fought Canelo. And Canelo was trying to knock his head off. That can't be denied, bro. Canelo carried Munguia and he carried Charlo. He didn't carry Berlanga, bro. He wanted to knock Berlanga's head off. And he couldn't do it. So like I said, we got to cool out. We got to cool out on it. Let it play out. For those of you guys that are like, well, it's nasty work that he's the co-main event on a card that's headlined by Austin Ammo Williams against Patrice Valnoy, a middleweight fight, which is a decent scrap. But we also got to remember, guys, this card was not put in place and purposely put Edgar in the co-main event. This is a card that was already made. This was a done deal. The main event was already made. Edgar is a last-minute add-on as the co-main event. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I was in the building when Edgar sold out Caribbean Royale last year in February. It was when I first started doing boxing content, actually. And Caribbean was lit. The Puerto Ricans come out for him. Orlando is like a mini Puerto Rico. So now that he's on that card, you best believe that they will sell out. They will probably add more seats. And chances are, after that co-main event, you're probably going to see half the people in there leave because they're probably not going to be interested in the main event. They just want to see Berlanga. I'm not capping, bro. I mean, he's a draw. He's a draw out here. Like I said, he's got a big Puerto Rican fan base here. I'll be in the building, obviously. But for those that are saying, well, this is, again, he's the co-main event. He's an add-on. And at the end of the day, I've never been a guy that's held too much stock on who's main event headliner and who's co-main event. I'm a boxing fan. I just want to see great fights. I just want to see great fights, man. We talk about that all the time on the Boxing Voice. We got people that call in all the time. And I'm going to give you a perfect example. The February 22nd fight. There were people that were calling in saying, why isn't Shakur the headliner? Or why isn't Shakur and Floyd Schofield the co-main event? Or why isn't Dubois against Parker the main event? We were like, who cares who the main event is? We're seeing all these great fights on one card, bro. All these fights on one card. So I never really put any stock into the co-main event and main event, whatever. I mean, there's some people that do. There's some people that don't. I think if Caribbean is smart, they switch the main event around and put Berlanga as the headliner. But I'm sure that can't happen. Obviously, there's contracts and all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, I think we should calm down a little bit. Like I said, Edgar's that type of guy that you either love him or you hate him. I mean, you can question his resume all you want, but the one thing that you can't question is the fact that people will come out to see him. He will sell with another fighter. He's exciting. He's not boring. He's a knockout guy. He's brash. So whether people want to see him lose, I mean, Floyd made a career out of that. Most people that bought his pay-per-view, I'm convinced, wanted to see Floyd lose, and that never happened. So, we just got to cool out. I'm just giving everybody a different perspective on it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if y'all want to kill me for it, y'all could kill me. But at the end of the day, I'm just giving you a little bit of a different perspective. Let's see what the chat is chirping about, man. Great show so far, my man. I'm enjoying it. Dream, man. Thank you for rocking out, bro. I know you're a busy guy doing it up in the barbershops in New York City, in the Bronx, bro. Or I'm not sure where your barbershop is. But I know you're doing it up, man. Shout out to you, bro, for showing some love. Unfortunate that the Puerto Rican fight got canceled, but glad I'm able to see him live at the Caribbean. Yeah, man, for people like myself and Wax, you know the deal, man. Florida's my home. I hold Florida down, bro. I hold Florida down from a fight perspective. So I'm not mad at it. You know what I'm saying? It just made that card even a lot more spicy. And hopefully we get my man Pablo Valdez in that card as well, man. That shit would be fire. Shout out to Pablo Valdez if you're checking me out, bro. I rock with you as well. They was flaming him on TV this morning. but I see the long play, of course, bro, because TBV, like they call me and Nesta fanboys, bro. They call me and Nesta fanboys. When we were talking about Edgar last night on the show, man, you had to see the comments, bro. They was out of control. Eddie Alvarez, Edgar fighting a can. Hey, listen, man, the biggest knock against Gonzalez Ortiz is the same knock about William Sco. Not a lot of people know him. Mostly nobody knows him. But and another thing too, which I will call out, he was inactive for about close to 10 years, in the middle part of his career. Not sure what that was all about. But it isn't like he's coming back to fight Edgar off a 10-year layoff either. He had 2 fights last year, which he both won by knockout. One of them was at the Caribbean Royale. I was there for that last June. So he did have 2 fights last year, one in March, one in June, and now obviously the Edgar fight a year, less than a year later. So, it is what it is. But again, Eddie, if this is one of those fights, unless it was McCumbee, unless it was Pacheco, unless it was Plant, unless it was and Billy, everybody would have crapped on it. Because that's the only fights that they wanted to see Edgar fight. So, whether it was Jonathan Gonzalez Ortiz or some other guy that they pulled out of the woodwork, people would have had a problem with that as well. Pretty sure Edgar turned down a contender. I can't say that, Eddie. I mean, I doubt that. Listen, anything's possible. But like I said, man, I have dialogue with his people, man. That's the long play, Johnny. Get the last fight out of the way and end the contract with a big KO. So now he can go into negotiation table with some leverage. Ryan. Shout out to my brother Ryan from Boxing Talk up north. Of course. Absolutely, man. I don't understand why people don't see that. He's going into free agency with momentum. Have y'all not seen other sports? Baseball players, football players, basketball players. They try to play their best on the last year of a deal so they can go into free agency and get that bag. Juan Soto just did it for the Yankees, right? And how'd that work out? It's a great position to go into free agency with a win, with a knockout win. Whether we like it or not, it's business. You know what I'm saying? And boxing is a business, bro. Boxing is a business, man. Sometimes it frustrates us. It frustrates me. Since I've been doing boxing media, I've learned a lot about the business of boxing, and there's a lot of it that I just shake my head about. But at the end of the day, bro, like, it is what it is. It is what it is. We just pray that, all the strings that are in the middle get cut and we see the fights that we want to see eventually. Four Corners Boxing, Johnny, keep it 100. EB is the bro about, but this fight ain't it, especially after fighting Canelo. Yeah, listen, man, like I said, a lot of people wanted to see a bigger name, X, but I really think in my heart that they were trying to make a Skull fight or a Munguia fight, and those just fell through. What do you do then? What do you do then? You can't just bring any opponent to Puerto Rico, with the expectation of selling out the Coliseo. You need another good name. You need another good dance partner. Maybe there wasn't enough time to get one. I mean, like I said, bro, that's what that's what I want to believe. Like I said, Edgar told me he wanted to fight William Sco. That was a makeable fight on Matchroom. He said he wanted to fight Munguia. He put the tweet out after Munguia got knocked out that Munguia messed up that bag. Maybe they had something in place for Puerto Rico. I could have definitely see that fight going down in Puerto Rico. Mexico against Puerto Rico. Now that's the fight that you need to put in Puerto Rico in the Coliseo. That's the fight, bro. Absolutely. I don't get the Berlanga hate either. Listen, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. But I'm going to tell you one thing. Like I said, man, you either like him or you don't. But you got to respect what he's doing in the sport. Right? He's making headways. People want to fight him. He's a name that people want to fight in big fights. Right? If you wasn't popping, nobody want to fight you. Caleb Plant talks about him every day. And Caleb Plant is a former world champion. One of the best fighters at 168. He wants to fight him. So there's got to be something there. Like I said, if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping at the end of the day. I mean, it is what it is. But I'm going to tell you, man, like I said, I've talked to Edgar. He's a nice guy. Edgar's a really nice guy. He's all about family and he's just a cool guy. And he's a hard worker. He's a hard worker. Edgar, all hype. I mean, they're going to be people that believe that. I hear that. Edgar, all talk. Absolutely, Eddie. I mean, listen, bro. at the end of the day, this is my perspective, man. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna agree to disagree. That's boxing. That's the beauty about boxing debates. We're gonna agree to disagree. People are gonna call me a hater. You know, people are gonna say, you know, they love my boxing takes. Some people are gonna say he don't know what the hell he's talking about. Hopefully that's not the case. But at the end of the day, I respect fighters and I respect my chat, man. Shout out to y'all, man. Y'all coming out, man. Y'all always come out for me, man. I appreciate you. Eddie, I appreciate you, brother. Nice Stalker Ramirez, Edgar versus the guy who knocked out Munguia, Suras. Well, that would have been good, but at the end of the day, they had that whole thing where they wanted Munguia to fight the rematch against Suras. You know, so we kind of knew after that Edgar Munguia, if that was in play, wasn't going to happen, and Suras and Munguia was going to happen. Let's not forget Munguia was cooking in that fight before he got caught. You're making a lot of excuses for Edgar. I wouldn't say that, Eddie. I'm giving you a different perspective. That's all. You know, that's all I'm giving you. I'm giving you a different perspective. And I'm trying to keep it 100. That's all I'm doing, man. My man, Eddie, bro. Not a big fight. Not a big fight with Plant. Nice Stalker Ramirez. But yeah, there are a lot of people that think that is a big fight. I like it. I want to see it. Kayla's been talking hella shit. I know Berlanga wants to shut him up. It'd be a good fight. And the promotion for that fight would be badass too, bro. Shout out to you, Night Stalker Ramirez. I've been talking a lot. Give me 1 second. Got to get my lips wet here. Eddie Alvarez, Edgar more worried about getting tattoos and fight. Edgar's a flashy guy, bro. He loves jewelry. He loves fancy clothes. He comes from Bushwick, bro. I came from Bushwick. That's how we were raised, man. I'm old. And I ain't rich, so I can't rock out like that. But I ain't gonna lie, if I had a few bucks, I might have a flashier chain than the one I got on now. I ain't going front. My man, Eddie, bro. Stay busy versus Trevor McCumbee. Hey, that would have been the ideal fight. We've all wanted to see that. But, you know, unfortunately, you know, that fight didn't happen, X, you know. Canelo has going early on Edgar, Night Stalker Ramirez. Whole card of bums. Man, I'll still be there, man. I'll still be there, man. You got Austin Ammo Williams, 17-1, 12 knockouts, middleweight fight, young guy. He is coming off a TKO on the Boots Karen undercard, a 5th round TKO. He's fighting against Patrice Valnoy from Canada. He's 19-1, 13 knockouts. He's coming off a 9th round TKO off of Stephen Butler. Two good fighters that they fought previously. Again, this was supposed to be a card that was just headlined by him. And we got the Olympian, man. The U.S. Olympian medal winner, Omari Jones, is going to be making his pro debut, baby. He's on that card as well. And now you add Edgar to it, and it becomes a little bit more, a lot more spicy. And if you add Pablo Valdez to that card, it makes that card even better. Dominican Dream, I agree with Eddie. Yeah, no, absolutely. I get it, man. Listen, it is what it is. We all have our opinions, right? Hey, as a boxing fan, I'm not going to lie. Absolutely, I would have loved to see him fight McCumbee next. You tell me he's fighting Caleb Plant next? Absolutely. I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't say, yo, Edgar, nah, don't do that. Take a tune-up first. I mean, I'm a boxing fan. I want to see the best fight the best too. But at the end of the day, like I said, the whole premise of this is to give you a different perspective. And why everybody's hating and tripping, bro. Like, y'all gotta stop the cap, bro. Like, relax. I'm pretty sure Berlanga's opponent is a second cousin from my man. Dream, you go hard, bro. You go hard, man. But that's my guy, bro. Zorro de la Vega, my man Alex is in the building. Alex is one of my favorite callers on the Boxing Voice because I love his fight breakdowns. Him and Hamza, shout out to Troy Hamza. You know, Hamza be breaking down the fights to the T. Alex Vega, Zorro be breaking down these fights. He's one of my favorite callers. He's actually a Florida resident. So one of these days, Vega, we got to hook up at a fight. Come down to Orlando, bro. Come on, guys. KO Mantequilla is going to get Edgar paid. I don't know, man. People don't see the end game, bro. They don't see the end game, bro. Like, come on, bro. We got to, listen, like I said, if I tell y'all, and again, I don't have no inside track on this, but if I tell y'all that this fight is just a lead up to Plant, Munguia, or Diego Pacheco or Billy, would you not be satisfied, bro? Would you not be satisfied? Because if you're not satisfied, nasty. Of course we want to see that, bro. Of course we want to see that, bro. Eddie Hearn said all of his fighters be turning down fights. I don't know. Did he say that? He probably made a general statement. I don't know, man. Like I said, one thing I won't deny, Eddie, is I don't know what happened in the negotiation table. I'm just giving y'all a different perspective and a take of what I believe may have happened. Like I said, I rock with Edgar, but I will tell you, like I said, from Edgar has said it to me, like he ain't worried about it, bro. Because he know he's still the A side, and he know after this fight, he gonna be able to choose his path. He doesn't feel like he even needs to be promoted, bro. He gonna make it happen. My advice to Edgar, though, is maybe you make your own promotion company. Every other fighter has their own promotion company. Every fighter has their own promotion company where they go promote. Make the chosen one promotions, man. Try to put something like that together, and make some fights happen, bro. Zorro Vega, yeah, man. I mean, it is what it is. Put the fight. All right, I'm just glad I'm gonna see boxing. Ziggy Esco, appreciate you rocking out. Yeah, man. Listen, any more boxing the better, bro. Boxing the better. We got Friday night boxing this weekend, ESPN, and I had some caller or whatever, or somebody that commented like, "Yo, why Friday?" I get that it's Valentine's Day this Friday. And a lot of people are suspect about the undercards. They are excited about the main event. Obviously, Keyshawn Davis is making his first attempt at a world title against Dennis Baranchek from the Ukraine. That is for the IBF strap, I believe. So that's on Friday in the main event. A lot of people are questioning the undercard, even though I think there's a great array of young talent on that card. Zandazai is my guy. He's going to be co-main event. I always love seeing him. Although I wish Top Rank would take the the leash off and let this dog roam around with the big dogs. I think he's ready. But that's how Top Rank does. We'll get into that in just 1 second. But yeah, to get back to my point, people are complaining about a Friday night card. It's Friday, bro. Wednesday night boxing at Pro Box is popping. I've been to Pro. I worked the Pro Box fights. I love those fights. And a lot of people will say they don't know a lot of the names on it. But one thing that you cannot deny is if you watch a Pro Box card, you're going to be entertained, bro. They put on 50-50 fights, and they put fights against people that fight each other. No runners. If you're a runner, they don't want you at Pro Box. That is fact. That is fact. They've said that on camera, on social media. Feel me? My man, Dedrick Wetson, what's up, my brother? I see you. I see you, man. Thank you for rocking out with me, man. You already know how we do it up here at the Hangout Spot. If you have not smashed that like button, make sure you do. And make sure you tell a friend, text him right now and be like, yo, get on with my boy Johnny at the Hangout Spot, man, and subscribe to the channel, man. He's doing it up. This is how we do it up. Dedrick, I appreciate you, brother. Alex, hopefully Edgar comes back to Puerto Rico Day Parade. Listen, I know he wants that fight in Puerto Rico. That I know. And I'm shocked that he didn't get it because, like I said, he told me, Mark Ferre told me, he's been talking about this at Pro Box. He did an interview at Pro Box just a couple weeks ago live and said it was a done deal. So, man, that had to have fallen apart like in the last minute, and they decided to say, instead of sitting out, let's take this fight and stay busy. And I think it's a good idea, man. I think it's a good idea because if you stay out for 12, 13, 14 months, fight fans will complain and bitch about that too. Trust me. Alex, being a free agent will probably stop that from happening this year. Could be. The Puerto Rico thing, I'm assuming you're talking about. I expect Edgar out another 6 months and then another non-rated opponent for the first fight in the new contract. We'll see. We'll see because with what I read into with what Ness put out yesterday from Keith Connolly, I'm reading into that. And if you guys want, you can go back to the Boxing Voice, the recording, the show that we did last night, the 7:00 show. I believe Keith Connolly put something out like, there's going to be some more stuff that's going to come out in the near future, which will give people a better understanding. I don't want to say it word for word because Ness read it out really quick. That'll get a better understanding of what we're looking for. This is a small fight here, but we're looking for the big one after that. So I don't know if there's something in place. Like I said, if you tell me we take this fight in March, but then we get that big one, in August or September against one of those names I just mentioned, sign me up, bro. Sign me up. That's my issue with this fight. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's not the perfect fight. It's not the perfect fight. If I had my pick, it would not be my pick, but I just want people to just calm down a bit. Calm down a bit. Yeah, there's gonna be some people that are gonna call me a fanboy. Come on, man. I'm just trying to give you a different perspective. Knock out someone we at least know that fought someone we know. How dare we expect that from the superstar? Again, there's certain things obviously Edgar says that will rub people the wrong way. Thus, people will come back and say, really? You say this, but you give me this. But again, he's not the first fighter to do that. Adrian Broner's done it in the past. A lot of other brash fighters have done it. This is how they market themselves. Sometimes, again, they throw us curveballs. This is the way it works, man. I appreciate you, Vega. I appreciate you, my brother. You know you my guy. Eddie Alvarez, I'm 57. Don't talk about it. Be about it. I got no complaints with that, Eddie. I'm assuming the Puerto Rico venue and date fell through, but it really wanted to come back and get to free agency. Yeah, man, that had to have been something with not getting the right opponent to fill the Coliseo. The Coliseo is a well-renowned arena. It is huge. It is in San Juan, the heart of Puerto Rico, the capital. I mean, you got to get the right, not just opponent, but the right amount of promotion. And this is the reason why, too, like, this is just me analyzing shit. When the end of January rolled around, and I'm still like, yo, Edgar hasn't made an announcement who he's going to fight in Puerto Rico because they were saying March 8th. Aren't you going to need enough time to promote this fight, sell tickets, get in front of the Puerto Rico crowd in a press conference, talk your shit, make sure you hype the Puerto Rico people up to come out for you? Like, I'm like, you can't do that in such a short amount of time. Like, you at least need, in my opinion, a good 8 weeks. Press conference, you promote it, you put tickets out there on sale. When they didn't do that, I was starting to say, damn, is this fight really going to happen in Puerto Rico? So I kind of had my radar up. Like, I was thinking maybe it doesn't, but they kept saying it was. So I'm like, oh, damn, maybe it's something last minute. I don't know. But it can't be somebody of a big name because you're going to need to promote that. So, it didn't really come a shock. The only thing that really shocked me was the fact that they pivoted to Orlando. But like I said, I really didn't expect, with the short amount of time, the end of January, still not an announcement, that it was going to be a big name. I didn't expect that. Again, I temper my expectations because I know the business of boxing. Ethan Serrano, what's going on, my guy? Thank you for hanging out and rocking out with me. That Edgar Berlanga co-main shit is trash. A lot of people are shitting on it, man, but hopefully you were here a little while ago and heard my perspective of it. I don't really get caught up into the main event, co-main event crap. I don't really care. If you give me 2 good fights, I don't give a shit which one is the main and which one is the co. I just want to see 2 good fights. And trust me when I tell you, Edgar has told me he don't care about that either. He still feels like regardless of where I fight, I'm the A-side fighter. People are going to come out and see me in Orlando. And I got to be honest, bro, he's not capping. Orlando's going to come out, bro. He fight the Lion King who took a 10-year break. Is that what? He certainly looks like it in his box rec picture. You capping or is that real, bro? I don't know. I don't know why he took the 10-year off, but he did fight 2 times in 2024. And he won by knockout both times. I was there to see one of them. So it's not like he's fighting Edgar off a 10-year layoff, man. He did have 2 fights in 2020 for actually a good level of fights this week. Absolutely. And Vega, make sure you jump on Thursday, man, because I want to cover some of those fights. And hopefully, if you're open, man, to it, and I don't get Lucas Body on, maybe I'll have you come on, bro. Have you come on and breaking some of these fights with me, bro. I would love to have you on, man. Let's connect on DM after this and make that happen. As of right now, I'm looking at Lucas Body Prince, but I may not have him on the whole show. The truth will come out when Edgar leaves Matchroom. Eddie will talk nasty about Edgar. Absolutely. The truth always comes out, bro. The truth always comes out when there's a breakup, right? After the divorce, everybody wants to talk, bro. Boxing drama at its best. I can't wait. Shout out to you for bringing that up, Eddie. I mean, you're going to hear all type of stuff, bro. You're going to hear all type of stuff. Zoro Zander is only 22. Spoomer is rated. He's a rated guy in the WAL somehow who is basically an undefeated junior middleweight who has never really fought higher than domestic level in Germany. Yeah, I mean, not a lot of people know about Spoomer, which is why I'd love to get your perspective on it, possibly Thursday when we get into a little bit in depth, breaking down this card. But now that you bring that up, let's take a quick peek at the card. This is this Friday, Valentine's Day, February 14th. I don't know how many people are going to watch it because obviously, the lady might come first. If that happens, I'll totally understand, but make sure you check it out afterwards on ESPN. I'm sure the fights, that's what I like about ESPN. Usually right after the main broadcast, they'll put it right there where you could watch the replay. You have Keyshawn Davis, who's going for his first world title against Dennis Barichek. Two undefeated guys. I see that as a very, very good fight. I like it. Let's not forget, I give Keyshawn a lot of credit. This is only his 13th fight. He's 12-0, and he's already getting a title shot. He's been calling out Tank. Hopefully he wins this strap, and maybe we can get a Tank fight down the road. I think Tank is probably more open to fighting him than his stablemate, Shakur Stevenson. Whether people believe he's ready or not, he's asking for that fight. I don't knock young fighters that call out the bigger names because they want that smoke. Floyd Schofield did it. He's fighting Shakur Stevenson in one of the biggest cards we've ever seen. So shout out to him, a young guy who is who's asking for that smoke at a young age. So if Keyshawn is the guy that we all think he is, and I do, I think he's a special fighter. There's a lot of people I know, the maniac, the dream, that really don't feel that he's really as good as people think he is. I think he is, but we're going to see. If he really is that good, he should win his first world title on Valentine's Day. Then you got Xander Zayas, who is fighting the co-main event, like my man Vega just said, against an undefeated guy from Germany. Spoomer, again, not a big name, but a tough challenge. But I'm a little disappointed because Xander Zayas was ready to put himself in line for Virgil Ortiz when they were looking for an opponent. And they decided to go with Madrimov instead because they wanted a bigger name with more experience. I don't knock Virgil Ortiz's people for that. But Xander was like, yo, what's up? I'm ready to step in. He wants that smoke. I interviewed him at Caribbean Royale last year during the Tim Tszyu fight. And when I asked him, when do you think you're going to be ready for a title shot or ready to take over the division? He didn't even let me finish when he said, I'm ready now. I'm just waiting for an opportunity. So he's ready. But Top Rank is known for moving their fighters very slow. Feel me? So that's my only beef about that. But hopefully, this guy will be able to put, he'll be able to get some good work against this guy. You got Jared Anderson, who's making his comeback, from that big loss against Martin Holy Moly Bacoli, which is what I call him. So this is his comeback fight. You got Rohan Polanco, who's a young welterweight prospect. He's fighting on that card. Tough guy that he's fighting. Jean Carlos Torres. You got Abdullah Mason, who's everybody's prospect, who's been everybody's prospect of the year the last 3 years. Is he really a prospect still? He's got 16 fights. When are we going to start calling him a contender? This is a good step up for him against a guy who fought against Rolly. Manuel Jimenez, Vito Milanecki Jr., his first fight at 160. This is a guy that I've wanted Xander to fight at 154. There's some amateur history there. He's fighting on here Nico Ali Walsh, which is obviously the grandson of the great legendary Muhammad Ali. He's fighting there, as well as the debut of Juanma Lopez's son. Remember Juanma? Juanma Lopez? This is his son, Juanma Lopez de Jesus. He's making his pro debut on this card as well. Like I said, I really didn't want to deep dive into this one because I expect to do a little bit more deep diving and talking about this one on Thursday's show. So make sure y'all tune in. Vega Berlanga said he was going to do an IG live explaining the current situation. Yep. And honestly, I tried to get him on live tonight. I tried. We went back and forth a little bit, but he wasn't ready. Like, I think he's, I don't know if he's allowed to yet or if he's ready to go live with it, but I was hoping that he was ready and he wanted to do this on the Hangout spot. So I'm gonna continue to try, man, because like I said, Edgar, my dude, he's got to give his side of the story too. You know what I'm saying? I think the fight fans want to hear that, and I think it would be very, very interesting to hear how it went down. As a promoter, Eddie Hearn, we got Eddie Alvarez is sick about this fight. His job to put on the best fights that he can. That means no cans. Yeah, listen, but at the end of the day, it's his obligation, right? He signed Edgar to a 3-fight deal. So, I think Matchroom did their part. with Edgar. They got him a Canelo fight, a game changer, a life-changing fight from a financial perspective for Edgar. A fight that a lot of people should give him props for because he fought admirably. A lot of people thought that he was in nowhere. He wasn't in that league. He was going to get washed. He was going to get knocked out. Edgar faced adversity in that fight. He went down from a monstrous left hook and he got back up with no problem and he finished that fight. He fought Canelo. He lost a unanimous decision. But a lot of people, should give him credit for that performance. You know what I mean? And, so I think that Matchroom did their part with getting him that fight. I don't really think they were worried about this last one. They probably just wanted to just get it over with and then move on. But we'll see, right? After March 15th, there's going to be a lot of questions that'll be answered. It's going to be interesting. Mantequilla is a former Puerto Rican Olympian. A lot of people forget that. Vega, my bad. I forgot to bring that up, but you're right. Again, I think the biggest thing with him is that nobody really knows who he is because he was out of the game for so many years. That's really what it is, man. But don't sleep, man. It could be a good fight. I'm capping. But he did take you 10 years old. I was wondering, man. I was wondering if you were like, yo, you know something I don't, bro, Ephraim? It was 11 years? Okay, my bad. 10 years, 11 years. It was a long time, bro. It was uncharacteristic unless a guy did time and he went away. I don't know if that was the case. I didn't hear anything or read anything about that. But you know how that rolls? Maybe Edgar works with Turkey after the Matchroom contract is done? Absolutely. I believe that. You don't think that a possible fight with Diego Pacheco, who wants that fight, and he's a Matchroom fighter. We all know Matchroom works very close with Turkey. Can't make that fight with Edgar? Absolutely. That's what I'm telling everybody. Relax. Relax, bro. Yo, y'all get like crazy, bro. And it's my job to calm y'all down a little bit, man. Calm y'all down a little bit, man. Real talk, man. Thursday night, I'll see what's up. All right, man. Keep me posted. You're more than welcome to be able to jump on for a little bit. You are always welcome. You my guy, Alex. I was supposed to go to the fight, but my lady on my ass about that. Ephraim, I'm sure you ain't the only one, bro. It's Valentine's Day. They're going to be like, what? You want to see that fight card? You're not taking me out personally? I'm glad I'm married and my wife is understanding because even if there was no fight, I doubt we would go out to eat anyway because everywhere you go, restaurants, and we live in Orlando, in Florida where, if we want to go to Orlando, everything's going to be packed. I'd rather go on Saturday. We'll celebrate Valentine's Day on Saturday instead of Friday. And she understands that. So shout out to my wife. I love you, baby, if you're watching. Ziggy Esco, VA stand up. Come on, Keyshawn. That's right. I'm rooting for Keyshawn, man. I do. I like him. I love his bravado. Today, the press conference got a little saucy. It looked like Baranchek wasn't having it. Like, he's not used to that. These Ukrainians, they don't play, bro. He's from that Usyk stable, from that Lomachenko stable. They don't play. They tough. He's coming to fight. Keyshawn may have pissed him off, man. Keyshawn may have pissed him off, which will make it even better fight at the end of the day. But styles make fights. Keyshawn looks like a lot bigger than him too. I'm interested to see them Thursday at the weigh-in, man. He looked so much bigger than him today. He was kind of towering over him. And Keyshawn has dog in him. He likes to fight, bro. He likes to fight. My man MB Productions, my man Mr. B is in the building. Appreciate you coming out, my brother, and showing me love, man. Appreciate you, man. You know how we roll, bro. Eddie Alvarez, all the fighters say they ready, but stall when it comes to signing the contract. Man, listen, Eddie, you're right, but this is boxing, bro. This is boxing, man. Like I said, the business of boxing can be so frustrating. So frustrating, man. But this is what we got to deal with. This is what we love, right? I love boxing, man. But boxing, I've said this on other shows, can be its own worst enemy, man. Not having a commissioner, not having a guy like Dana White in the UFC hurts us, right? Because boxing right now is like the wild, wild west, man. The promoters are fighting with the networks, or fighting with salaries, promotion companies. Every fighter has a promotion company now, so they want to cut. It's just, if you had a commissioner like Dana White, I'm not a big MMA guy, but I've seen MMA shows. I mean, they pit the best against the best, main events, rematches. I mean, I've seen fighters in press conferences literally say, nah, I don't want to fight that guy next. And then you see Dana White after that come out and say, nah, he's fighting him next. They run shit there. You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem with boxing. We don't have a commissioner. Every other sport, every major sport has a commissioner except boxing. And Turkey is probably the closest thing to giving us that. You know, he's probably the closest thing to giving us that. So in my opinion, I think we got to embrace him, you know, not hate on him. You know what I'm saying? Believe it or not, there are fight fans that chat on my IG and all that stuff that really don't like him. It's crazy to me, man. Don't forget Dennis beat Navarrete. Absolutely, bro. People are sleeping on that, man. Dennis is a tough dude, bro. He's undefeated. He beat Navarrete. Granted, Navarrete moved up. But how many people are beating Navarrete? You saw he went back down, and you saw what he did to Oscar Valdez. With that style, as big as he was, Baranchek did his thing, bro. That's going to be a good fight, man. That main event, in my opinion, is worth the money. And it's free. And shout out to everybody who's actually going to that card. That's going to be in New York City at the theater, Madison Square Garden. I believe Four Corners may be in the building for that. I wish I was going up for that, but if not, I'm definitely going to be down in New York City for Tank and Roach. The Hangout spot will be in the building, so we definitely going to catch up for that. I'm a Cowboys fan, but 34 years, no Super Bowl. Time ain't on my side. Eddie, listen, I wish I could feel for you, but guess what? I'm a Jet fan, bro. Yeah, a Jet fan, bro.
Damn.
It don't get no worse than that, bro. My entire life, I've seen nothing close to a Super Bowl. At least you've seen one in your lifetime, bro. At least you've seen one in your lifetime, bro. Yeah, Four Corners will be there. All right. Yeah, absolutely, man. I definitely want to hook up with y'all. If I might be at the Tank. Yeah, Ethan, if you there, come holler at me, bro. Come holler at me, man. You know, once you come to the Hangout spot, you family, man. Once you subscribe, you come show me love. Y'all family. I say that to my guests. Every single one of my guests, whether you're a fighter, you're a trainer, you come to the Hangout spot, you family. But my supporters, my subscribers, my chat members, I mean, y'all rock out with me, man. Without y'all, I wouldn't be here, man. I love this. And I love doing it for y'all. You know what I'm saying? I love this. I mean, you guys motivate me, you know, to continue to do this, to continue to put out great content, great interviews, shorts. That's what I'm saying. If y'all haven't subscribed, tell other people to subscribe. I'm throwing out shorts, you know, in the evenings of interviews I'm doing. I'm still at live fights. I work the cards in Florida. I work all the pro box cards. I live in Caribbean. Shout out to Box Lab, Undisputed, Caribbean Royale. That's my second home. I work the cards there as a member of the media. You know, I'm holding Florida down, but the goal in 2025 is to take the Hangout spot to the road, and I intend to do that. We're gonna start in New York City, and we're gonna make it to Vegas. We're gonna make it to Puerto Rico. This is how we doing it up in 2025. So make sure y'all are along for the ride. And like I said, tell a friend to tell a friend. Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, for sure. If you're in the building, I definitely expect you to reach out, shout out, you know, and come show a brother love, man. Stay with it, Johnny. It's a long game on YouTube. Absolutely, bro. I'm here for the long run, bro. I ain't going no place. Eddie, man, you know, and I say this respectfully, I'm coming for the big dogs. I'm coming to try to take this bitch over. Like, you know, I really, really want to make my mark. And like I said, in 2024, we made our mark. Now in 2025, we're looking to take this game to the next level. And this is why I appreciate all my supporters, all my subscribers, other podcasters that show me love, Four Corners Boxing, The Maniac, The Boxing Roundtable. Obviously, my brother, my mentor, Nestor Gibbs from The Boxing Voice, who has allowed me to come on the platform and chop it up with the community. Great family members in the community. You know, has provided me some opportunities to do some correspondent work for the Boxing Voice, to get my foot in the door. I appreciate you, Ness, if you're watching, you my guy. But we looking to take, you know, this to the next level, man. The next level in 2025. And I cannot do this without my supporters. We are locked and loaded. Ziggy Esco, you already know the deal, bro. The Hangout spot is here to stay. But before I let y'all go, let y'all know that Thursday, 9 p.m., we rocking out. Same time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We were supposed to have lightweight contender, undefeated, 18-0, 15 knockouts, Lucas Prince Body, who is coming off basically the knockout of the year against Ashton H2O Sill. I was in the building for that. I worked that card. And when Lucas landed that 3-piece and a biscuit and put Ashton to sleep, no disrespect to Ashton. He's a great young fighter, a great young man. H2O, shout out to you. Hopefully we'll see him back in the ring soon. But when he landed that 3-piece and a biscuit, bro, the crowd in Tampa went insane, man. I'm talking about insane. It was definitely knockout of the year, in my opinion. When we did our award show in the beginning of January, which I did with the Maniac, that was my knockout of the year by far. We got him hopefully in the building on Thursday. We were supposed to have him here today, but he's traveling. He's been traveling back and forth to Vegas. Obviously, there's a lot of pre-fight stuff that he's working on. He's actually going to headline a card March 7th in Canada. Hopefully, my man Ryan from Boxing Talk Up North can hit that card up to support. He's headlining that card. It is a Most Valuable Promotions, Jake Paul, MVP Prospects 11. They are usually great cards with a lot of great young talent. I've worked about 4 or 5 of them here in Orlando. A lot of them are usually here in Caribbean Royale, but obviously they're looking to take their show on the road. This one will be in Canada. Lucas Body is from Canada, so this is basically a homecoming, so good for him. So I didn't have him today, but we are going back and forth. We are trying to make Thursday happen. So make sure you tune in. Follow me on IG so that I can give you guys some update on that. But even if we do have him here, I don't anticipate having him on for the entire show. So we're still going to do a little bit of a breakdown on Friday's fights, Thursday night, so that we can hype ourselves up for the Friday fights, because you know how we do it up, here at the Hangout spot. But anyway, great show. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for rocking out with me. I appreciate the love and support. As always, this is your boy Johnny signing out from the Hangout Spot Live, and I will talk to everybody Thursday, man. Peace.